Welcome, spicy ladies. Have you ever noticed how some people leave the world guessing, like there is a layer to them nobody can fully touch? That is the Sigma female in action. People watch her from every angle, fascinated and frustrated, trying to figure out how she moves so effortlessly while they struggle to keep pace. She does not rely on attention or validation. She does not perform or explain herself. Yet somehow she commands respect, curiosity, and even a little fear. The question on everyone's mind is simple. How did she figure this out? The truth is she did not stumble into it. She learned to see through the noise, to recognize patterns others miss, and to value her own clarity above all else. She discovered early that life is not about impressing the world, but mastering herself. Every choice, every boundary, every step she takes is intentional. People may admire her from afar, but the real power is in what they cannot see. The patience, the reflection, the quiet discipline that shapes her decisions. And here's what you need to know. You can learn from this. You can begin to value your own energy, protect your focus, and embrace solitude as a tool for growth. You can stop chasing approval and start cultivating your own power. Being like her is not about imitation. It is about learning to trust yourself, sharpen your instincts, and move with clarity while the world struggles to catch up. The Sigma female is not a mystery you solve. She's a standard you rise to meet. And every step you take toward that clarity makes you unstoppable. Let's dive into it. The spicy ladies. Number 1, you have learned that attention is a currency and you spend it like a miser. Most people throw their energy into being noticed, but you understand that silence buys leverage. The less they see, the more they wonder. This is one of the most fascinating things about the Sigma female. While the world is obsessed with putting everything on display, she withholds. Others burn themselves out trying to stay visible, chasing likes, applause, or constant reassurance. She plays a different game. She knows that what is scarce becomes valuable, and nothing is more scarce today than restraint. Think about it in everyday life. On social media, most people document every detail of their existence, hoping someone out there validates it. She does the opposite. She shares little, if anything, and when she does, it is intentional. That silence leaves people curious. They wonder where she is, what she is doing, what she is thinking. The mystery itself becomes her magnet. Or picture her in a group setting. Others may fight to dominate the conversation, throwing out opinions just to be heard. She listens, chooses her moment, and then delivers one line that carries more weight than everything that came before. People walk away quoting her, not the chatter that filled the room. That is what it means to spend attention wisely. Even in relationships, this trait shines. She does not flood anyone with endless availability. She gives her time and focus carefully, and because of that, her presence feels valuable. People do not take her lightly, because they know she will not waste herself on anyone who does not deserve it. The brilliance of treating attention like currency is that it creates leverage. Scarcity fuels value. By not giving everything away, she turns even her silence into power. People lean in to fill the gaps they project. They wonder. They imagine. She does not need to chase relevance. She creates it by making herself rare. And this is why the Sigma female cannot be overlooked. She understands something most never learn. When you stop giving yourself away cheaply, the world has no choice but to start paying attention differently. She does not spend her energy trying to be seen. She makes her absence just as powerful as her presence. Right now, if you are still watching, I hope this video can help you. Your comments motivate me so much, so I can make more videos which you like. So hit that subscribe button and leave me a message. Let's continue. Number 2, you spotted the trap in fitting in before you were even done growing up. You realized early that blending in is not safety. It is slow suffocation. You chose solitude over delusion. Most people spend their early years desperately trying to blend into whatever crowd surrounds them. They mimic the styles, the slang, the attitudes, believing that acceptance equals survival. You saw through that illusion before it could chain you. You understood that molding yourself into someone else's image meant losing the sharpness of your own. This choice set you apart. It was not easy because solitude is heavy when you are young and the world is telling you to conform. But you understood something most people do not. Acceptance at the cost of authenticity is a prison disguised as comfort. You refused to pay that price. Even in school or early social circles where most bowed to peer pressure, you carried yourself differently. You did not chase the approval of cliques because you sensed that their validation was conditional and fleeting. Instead, you valued your own clarity. You chose to protect your identity rather than dilute it for temporary belonging. That decision sharpened you. It gave you self-respect before you even had words for it. While others were learning to survive through imitation, you were already mastering independence. That is why today you are immune to the pull of the crowd. You know how to walk alone without fear because you trained that muscle early. And the irony is, the same people who once dismissed you for being different are now intrigued. They cannot figure out how you managed to escape the trap they fell into. They watch you move with freedom, while they are still entangled in the expectations of others. You never confused conformity with safety. You understood it was a slow suffocation of the soul. So you chose solitude, and that choice turned into power. Number 3, you treat trust like a rare metal. Slowly, never given freely. They cannot figure out how you are always 2 steps ahead of the people who smile at you while sharpening knives. Most people hand out trust like small change, throwing it into every open palm that looks friendly enough. You do not. You learn the hard way that loyalty wears disguises, and that kindness can be nothing more than bait. So you built your own system, one rooted in patience, observation, and restraint. You never rush into connections. You let people reveal themselves through the small cracks in their words, their silences, their inconsistencies. You wait, and while you wait, you are studying, not in suspicion, but in clarity. It is why betrayal rarely surprises you. By the time someone shows their teeth, you already saw the shadow of the bite long before. Trust to you is not a gift. It is earned through consistent proof, through actions that hold up when the spotlight fades. Because you value it like a rare metal, your trust carries weight. Those who hold it know it cannot be replaced easily, which is why losing it feels like a collapse they never recover from. That is what sets you apart. People wonder how you always manage to see through the masks, how you anticipate deception before it arrives. The truth is simple. You guard your trust like treasure, and that discipline keeps you 2 steps ahead of those who mistake charm for honesty. Your strength lies not in paranoia, but in discernment. You understand that trust is not about giving people chances to hurt you. It is about protecting your own ground so that only the worthy can stand beside you. Number 4, you broke the social script without announcing it. Everyone else needs to make noise when they rebel. You changed the rules quietly, and by the time they noticed, you were already living in a different game. Most people crave applause for breaking free. They want the world to see their defiance, to validate their rebellion with claps and headlines. But you never asked for recognition. You never needed an audience. You simply walked away from the script everyone else was performing, tore out the pages, and wrote your own lines in silence. While others scream about freedom, you practice it. While they broadcast their independence, you embody it. That is why they cannot understand how you managed to escape the cages. They are still rattling. They look around for your chains and see none, and it unsettles them. You did not need to flip tables to prove you were uncontainable. You simply stood up and left them behind. No theatrics, no declarations, no warning. That is why the impact cuts deeper. By the time they realize you no longer play by their rules, you are already winning in a world they cannot enter. And that is what leaves them in awe. You prove that real power does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it moves silently, and sometimes it vanishes from their stage entirely. Number 5, you use boredom as a weapon. When most people panic at the thought of doing nothing, you let stillness sharpen your mind until you're dangerous. Most people cannot stand silence. They scramble for distractions, desperate to fill every empty space with noise, with scrolling, with chatter. They fear stillness because it forces them to face themselves. But you lean into it. You don't run from the quiet, you master it. In the moments where others get restless, you grow sharper. Boredom becomes your forge, a place where your thoughts gather power instead of scattering. You don't see stillness as wasted time. You see it as a training ground where your patience, clarity, and foresight grow stronger. While the world exhausts itself, chasing stimulation, you sit with the silence until it bends to your will. You let boredom test you, stretch you, and refine you. And when you finally step back into the noise, you're not drained like everyone else. You're sharper, more focused, and impossible to predict. That's why you're dangerous. You turn what others fear into fuel. You made boredom your ally. And in a world terrified of being alone with their own thoughts, that makes you untouchable. Number 6, you turn self-respect into a filter that removes 90% of nonsense from your life. You no longer even need to cut people off. They simply can't breathe in your atmosphere. Most people spend years wrestling with boundaries, learning when to say no, or trying to find the courage to walk away from toxic situations. You reached a place where you don't even need to fight that battle anymore. Your self-respect is so strong that it does the work for you. It's like oxygen. If someone doesn't match the level of integrity and truth you live by, they choke on it without you having to lift a finger. You don't chase people out of your life. You don't make dramatic exits. You simply hold your standard. And the weight of it becomes unbearable for those who thrive on manipulation, half-truths, or chaos. They either rise to the level of respect you require or quietly fade away because they can't survive in the environment you've built. This is what terrifies people most about you. They expect resistance, arguments, or a battle to prove yourself. But there is no battle. There is only the silent strength of someone who knows exactly what they deserve. And that alone is enough to dissolve anything unworthy. Your life is lighter, sharper, and cleaner because of it. The nonsense doesn't cling to you. It can't. You've built an atmosphere too pure for it to exist in. Number 7, you make decisions as if you'll have to live with the consequences alone, because deep down you've already accepted that you probably will. That kind of clarity unnerves people who rely on the herd to spread the blame. Most people hide behind the safety of numbers. They follow trends, echo opinions, and move with the crowd, not because they believe in the direction, but because they want someone else to carry the weight if it all collapses. You don't move like that. You've stripped away the illusion that anyone else will come to save you. When you choose with full ownership, knowing the fallout, good or bad, lands squarely on your shoulders. This is why your choices carry a sharpness others can't ignore. They see someone who doesn't flinch, who doesn't delay, and who doesn't need the reassurance of a crowd nodding in agreement. That unsettles them. Your independence shines a harsh light on their dependency, making them realize how much of their lives are built on borrowed spines. And here's the truth that rattles them most. You don't just survive your decisions, you thrive in them. Even the missteps turn into lessons that carve you sharper. The very thing they fear, being alone with the weight of consequence, is the ground where you build your strength. It's not recklessness, it's responsibility. And responsibility fully embraced is power. Number 8. You treat praise and criticism like passing weather. Most people live on a leash pulled by praise on one end and criticism on the other. They rise and fall with every compliment, every insult, every nod of approval or shake of disapproval. It's exhausting because it means their entire journey depends on the mood of others. But you are different. You treat both praise and criticism like passing weather. Sunshine feels good. Rain can be uncomfortable. But neither changes the fact that you still have to keep walking toward your destination. Think about how many times people get stuck replaying words in their head. One small compliment and they are soaring, suddenly convinced they are unstoppable. One harsh remark and they spiral, questioning their worth. It's like handing strangers the keys to your emotions. You chose not to live that way. You decided that no opinion, whether sweet or bitter, should decide your pace. Take athletes as an example. If a runner started listening to every cheer or every boo from the crowd, they would lose focus on the track. The smart runner keeps their eyes on the finish line. They let the noise exist without letting it control their steps. That's exactly how you approach life. Praise doesn't make you overconfident. Criticism doesn't break you down. You let both pass through you like weather passing over a mountain. The terrain is what matters. The path ahead is what matters. And here's what makes it powerful. When people realize they cannot manipulate you with applause or rejection, you become untouchable. They might praise you to win you over. They might criticize you to shake your balance. Neither works. That stability is rare, and it's the reason others eventually respect you even if they don't understand you. The truth is, life will never stop handing out opinions. Some will be kind, some will sting, but you already know that neither can dictate your path. You are not walking for the cheers. You are not walking to avoid the boos. You are walking because there is a terrain ahead that only you are meant to cover. And that makes you unstoppable. Number 9, you don't sell your privacy. You guard it like an asset that appreciates over time. In a world where oversharing has become the default, your silence is not just rare, it is disarming. People throw their lives online, posting every thought, every meal, every fleeting emotion, hoping someone will notice. You do the opposite. You understand the power of holding something close, of keeping your life measured, controlled, and yours alone. Think about it in everyday life. At work, people gossip, blur lines between personal and professional, and spill details that do not concern anyone. You observe, you participate only when necessary, and you carefully decide what to share. That small restraint gives you leverage. Your words carry weight because they are chosen. Your life does not feel like an open book to everyone, and that alone makes people pay attention. They notice what you reveal because it is always intentional. Or consider friendships. Most people wear their emotions on their sleeves, letting frustration or excitement flood social media or group chats. You feel, you process, but you do not hand it out indiscriminately. You respond thoughtfully, not reactively. That control makes others pause because your presence is like a quiet pulse they cannot predict. They wonder what you think, what you feel, what you will do next. That curiosity gives you quiet influence without you ever asking for it. Even in relationships, this approach separates you. You do not overshare to please or appease. You give pieces of yourself carefully, allowing people to earn the right to understand your world. That scarcity makes your attention and your trust valuable. It also keeps you safe from manipulation because people cannot exploit what they do not know. The power of privacy is that it creates a space no one can invade without permission. It makes people curious, cautious, and respectful. Your life is yours and your boundaries are firm. By guarding yourself, you create a presence that cannot be cheapened or taken for granted. In a culture where exposure is often mistaken for authenticity, your restraint is a superpower. People may feel unsettled because they cannot map you, predict you, or control you. Your silence and discretion are not weaknesses. They are your strategy. Over time, the value of your privacy grows. And those who notice understand that what you protect cannot be measured, only respected. Number 10, you train yourself to be comfortable with empty space in life. While most people panic at gaps, rushing to fill them with noise, distractions, or constant company, you learn to sit in the quiet and let it work for you. Empty space is not something to fear. It is a canvas, a forge, a testing ground. You understand that clarity, strength, and focus often grow in the places others avoid. Think about it in everyday life. When your calendar has a free afternoon, many people immediately scramble to schedule calls, scroll endlessly through social media, or force themselves into small talk just to avoid feeling alone with their own thoughts. You do something different. You take the space and let it breathe. You reflect. You think, you plan. And in that reflection, you discover insights others miss. While they fill time to hide uncertainty, you let uncertainty sharpen you. Even in relationships, this skill sets you apart. Most people fear silence and try to constantly impress, entertain, or reassure others. You sit with the quiet moments, letting them linger. In those spaces, you see the truth of people's intentions, the patterns in behavior, and the subtle shifts others overlook. Your comfort with emptiness allows you to notice what matters and discard what does not. At work, it shows too. While colleagues panic over gaps in progress, rushing to appear busy or to over-explain their actions, you let the pause exist. That pause gives you perspective. You see the bigger picture. You anticipate moves, and your decisions carry clarity that others cannot match. Empty space is your ally. It lets you think 3 steps ahead while everyone else is reacting to noise. And here's the most powerful part. People who cannot handle emptiness are constantly unsettled around you. They feel the absence, the lack of constant chatter or reaction. And they wonder what you are thinking. That quiet gives you influence without effort because you are not manipulating. You are simply unafraid of space. You learn that empty space is not a void. It is where ideas form, strategies take shape, and self-mastery grows. By sitting comfortably in the gaps, you allow life to sharpen you instead of breaking you. Most people fill every moment to hide discomfort. You let the emptiness teach you how to be unshakable, focused, and unstoppable. Number 11. You never confuse activity with progress. Most people spend their days running from task to task, believing that being busy equals moving forward. They fill calendars, check boxes, and post updates, mistaking motion for momentum. You are different. You understand that 1,000 meaningless steps do not add up to anything. One precise step in the right direction carries more weight than a marathon of noise. Think about it in everyday life. At work, your colleagues might flood the inbox with emails, attending meeting after meeting, desperately hoping someone notices their effort. They look productive on paper, but are spinning in circles. You, on the other hand, focus on the few actions that actually move the needle. You plan, execute, and adjust with intention. One well-chosen decision delivers results that echo far beyond the flurry of busy work. Others mistake for achievement. Even in personal goals, the same principle applies. While many people chase trends or jump from hobby to hobby thinking constant movement equals growth, you carefully pick the actions that align with your vision. You invest your time where it matters most. If that means slow progress, you accept it knowing that speed without direction only leads to exhaustion and frustration. Relationships also show this clarity. Most people overwhelm their connections with constant attention, messages, and gestures, hoping to secure loyalty or affection. You act differently. You focus on quality over quantity. One meaningful conversation, one authentic gesture, or one boundary set with confidence does far more to build respect and trust than endless noise ever could. What makes this so powerful is that it is rarely understood by others. People expect grand gestures or visible busyness as proof of effort when they see you taking measured steps. They often underestimate your progress until you have already moved past them. They do not realize that while they were sprinting in circles, you were walking a straight line toward your goal. You understand that life rewards precision and persistence, not frantic activity. You conserve your energy, focus on the essentials, and let the rest fall away. One deliberate step can dismantle years of scattered effort if executed at the right time. That is the Sigma female's edge. She does not need to prove her progress to anyone. She knows that real movement is quiet, deliberate, and unstoppable. While the world confuses motion with meaning, she quietly turns intention into results. Number 12. You realize the ultimate power is not in controlling others. It is in being uncontrollable. Most people spend their lives trying to pull strings, manipulate situations, or bend others to their will. You saw that all of that is temporary. Influence over someone else can vanish with a single word, a single act, or a single betrayal. Real power, the kind that cannot be shaken, comes from being immune to manipulation yourself. Think about it. In everyday life, at work, people try to impress bosses, curry favor, or overpromise to gain leverage. You do not. You focus on your own standards, your own path, and your own principles. You cannot be bribed with praise or bent by pressure. Decisions that would derail others leave you steady. They may try to sway you to test your limits, but they discover that you are already beyond their reach. Even in relationships, this clarity sets you apart. People attempt to push, guilt, or tempt, assuming that everyone has a breaking point. You do not. You understand your values and boundaries so deeply that no attempt to control you can succeed. They are forced to acknowledge that your loyalty, attention, and time cannot be bought. They are gifts earned only by those who meet your standards. This is what leaves people in awe. It is not a loud display of power or a dramatic confrontation. It is quiet, undeniable, and absolute. When someone reaches this level of autonomy, it terrifies those who rely on influence, fear, or manipulation to get what they want. They cannot negotiate. They cannot persuade, and they cannot corner you. The Sigma female understands that uncontrollability is freedom. It is the space where decisions belong only to her. It is the armor that no argument or appeal can penetrate. And the most powerful part is that this strength does not need to be announced or proven. It simply exists, and the world has no choice but to respect it. In final words, have you ever wondered why some people seem untouchable, like they operate on a different level entirely? That is exactly what the Sigma female embodies. She moves through life with a clarity and strength that cannot be taught or borrowed. People watch her confused and intrigued, trying to figure out the secret, only to realize there is no shortcut. She has built herself from the ground up, piece by piece, learning lessons most ignore, observing patterns most miss, and mastering skills most never even attempt. She carries herself with quiet power. Every choice is deliberate, every word measured, and every action aligned with her purpose. The world may try to define her by its own standards, but she refuses to conform. She does not chase attention, prove herself, or perform for applause. Instead, she cultivates her own life, her own rules, and her own boundaries. That is why people are in awe. They see results without seeing the hours of patience, reflection, and persistence behind them. Her strength is not in force, but in control, not in volume, but in precision. She reads situations with a sharpness that unsettles others, acts with intention that inspires, and maintains a presence that cannot be ignored. She has learned that real power comes from self-mastery, not from bending others to her will. People may try to emulate her or decipher her methods, but they will never replicate the authenticity of a woman who knows herself so deeply. And here is the encouragement for anyone watching. You can cultivate even a fraction of this power by valuing your own time, energy, and decisions above external noise. You can learn to let silence work in your favor, to treat your attention like a currency, and to embrace solitude as a place where clarity grows. Strength is not about being seen or praised. It is about being consistent, intentional, and unshakable. The Sigma female is a reminder that true influence is quiet, rare, and unstoppable. You may not be like her yet, but every step you take toward mastering yourself moves you closer to that level. People may never fully understand how you did it, and that is exactly how it should be, because when you build yourself from the inside out, you become a force the world cannot ignore. Stay true to yourself. To all the spicy ladies make life beautiful, thank you for watching, and God bless.